We are so excited to be here at our launch event for Tech Mom Latinas. And everybody online, thank you so much for being here. Apologize for a little delay, but we are ready to get this show on the road. I've got here with me Robin from Rise Next, and she will take it away from here.
Hey there, it's great to see you all. I know that it's been hard this year and not able to see many people in person. I know that we're few in numbers in person tonight, but I love seeing us all spread out around this room. It's so thrilling. And we're so excited for those of you that are joining us online tonight. My name is Robin Scribner. I'm the Director of Outreach with Rise Next. We run a program called Tech Moms that helps introduce women into technology careers. And we are so thrilled to be partnering with Latinas in Tech here in Utah to launch our first cohorts of Tech Moms Latinas. So that's what tonight is all about, introducing some wonderful women in our Latina community who are working in tech and fantastic careers, who are looking for more of us to join them, right? And so we are thrilled to hear from a wonderful speaker tonight, panelists, and then of course questions from you. So, Trissa?
Yes, let's get our slides up and going. And we will introduce Crystal. Okay, all right. Okay.
I'm super excited to introduce Crystal. I love Crystal. She's amazing.
All right. All right. First, before we do that, we'd like to give a little shout out to Rev Road, who is our host tonight. They've allowed us to use this beautiful facility. And I will turn the time over to Sydney, who represents Rev Road.
Yes, welcome everyone. We're so glad to be able to have you in our space tonight. We love that you are here and online. We have a quick video that we're going to show to give a little bit of background on Rev Road, and then we'll go from there. While he's pulling that up, okay, it's ready.
This is you, an entrepreneur, and you have a world-changing idea. But you soon realize building a business is much more than just having the next big idea. Studies show 9 out of 10 innovations fail in the marketplace. But why is that? In the first years of your business, you have to implement strong systems, get a sales team, become a marketing ninja, finance and accounting wizard, a tech guru, learn to punch through walls and assemble the Avengers. It's just too much to juggle on your own, unless you have an eye patch and your name is Nick Fury. Since it's not, how do you build a business that succeeds, not become one of the many that will fail? When you partner with RevRoad,
you get access to teams of experts to help build your company so you can focus on the business core competency, which is your secret sauce.
How does it work? It's simple. Need to hire a rock star sales team? RevRoad helps you reach that goal. Need to get a high quality product out to your customers? Our designers and engineers get your product finished and ready to go to market. What about capital? Yep, we can help you find that too. You won't have to keep track of multiple agencies. RevRoad can do it all in-house, saving you time and money. Plus, you get your own mentor. That's like having access to Tony Stark when you're in a bind. Not to mention, we provide sweet open office space, giving you a chance to work with other successful entrepreneurs.
We offer 24-month access to a customized package of resources and expertise for a small equity exchange.
To start the evaluation process, apply on our website. You may be surprised how RevRoad ready your company is. Let's win together.
So that tells a little bit about us. We're a venture services firm, and we serve people all throughout the U.S. and even internationally. So if you know of any entrepreneurs, startups that have traction and are ready to scale, we would love to talk with them, send them our way. And we're also so pleased to partner with Latinas in Tech, Tech Moms tonight for this event. So thank you so much for being here, for tuning in online. And definitely look for those of us who are on the RevRoad team tonight if you would like more information afterward. Thank you.
All right, we want to bring up to stage our next sponsor who is providing our refreshments tonight. Connected Well, want to come up, and she's Connected Well is being represented tonight by Emily. Whoops.
Hi, everyone. Yes, so Connected Well is a local talent consulting firm that I actually get to work with quite often, either in talent acquisitions or doing some consulting for some local tech companies here. So I want to share a little bit about them with you. It's a local minority-owned recruitment agency founded on the core belief that everyone deserves meaningful and high-paying work, especially people who are underrepresented in the marketplace. Because of the pandemic, Connected Well launched UtahJobsList.com as a way to publicize and promote jobs to Utah's talented workforce. Utah Jobs List is free to any employer to post any job for 10 days and has a budget-conscious option for any company. Connected Well and Utah Jobs List feels strongly about promoting the Latinas and women in tech communities in Utah. Because of that, we have a unique coupon code you can share with anyone that gets 10% off any paid job listing or plan, as well as 10% off all future purchases will go right to Rise Next and Latinas in Tech Utah. So we will be sharing some of those funds to share future efforts and expansion, spread the word. Thank you.
All right, Robin, let's bring you on stage. Let's do our, hold on, sorry about that. I think we are ready to introduce our workshop panelists. There you go. Take the
Oh
floor,
my goodness,
Robin.
who thinks I can read that? Oh boy, I really hate reading bios anyway. So I'm just going to tell you what I know about Crystal, except for I don't actually know her direct job title. I bet I can see that. Oh, who knows? It's on there somewhere. I met Crystal a couple of years ago at an event, and we hit it off right away. She is a fierce, fierce advocate for women in all areas of professional success. She works on behalf of students. She works on behalf of Latinas. Anybody that needs a hand up, an extra voice in their behalf, Crystal is there for you. She's a frequent speaker and presenter all over the state and more broadly, and we are so lucky to have her come to speak to us tonight. I'm hoping that you are all reading her bio because I know there's a lot more on there, but we're so thrilled to have Crystal speak to us tonight. She's a fantastic marketing executive, specialist, an entrepreneur in her own right, and a fantastic woman. So Crystal, come on up.
Oh, okay, perfect. So yes, my name is Crystal Guerra, and I love being amongst Latinas because at work, everyone knows me, or my last name is always pronounced Guerra, and so it's nice to be around people who can pronounce my last name, first of all. And I always joke, being a Latina in tech, especially focusing on tech moms, I don't have any children, but this is my 6-year-old son. So if you guys, anybody here, a dog lover, this is my little guide Trail. So he is like a child. I am a Utah native. And so my parents are from Mexico. And so anybody family in Mexico, all right, in the house, okay, make some noise. My dad is from Jalisco and my mom is from Colima. And so it is always so crazy to me, when I think of being in tech, I work in marketing. So I do want to specify that oftentimes when people think of tech, they think of STEM, which is amazing, but there are so many other career opportunities. And so I love that I'm in marketing, and I've been in tech for about 11 years now. Which is crazy because I grew up not having a computer in the house. And so for me, tech was the furthest thing from what I thought I could ever get into. My dad is a full-time commercial farmer. So we are the owners of Guerra Farms. We have fruit stands throughout the state. He's been doing that for over 20 years. We bring our workers in from Mexico every year to help with all of our farming. And so feel free to check us out. You maybe have seen me at Pioneer Park slinging peaches and corn. And so that's actually how I got my start in marketing. So here's just a little picture of my family there, my brothers and my younger sister. But I got my start in marketing and business selling fruit on the side of the road. Now I know that it was marketing and business. At the time, I just thought it was child labor, like forced child labor with my family. But shout out to my dad for instilling a strong work ethic. And that's really what's carried me through my career. So I'm going to be brief because we've got an amazing panel after as well. But I want to leave you guys with just some quick nuggets of what I feel like has made a differentiator for me in this field and really just in life. And so these are the 3 things that I just want to quickly focus on, which is being open to opportunity, building authentic relationships, and committing to growth. And for those of you that are unmarried, like myself, that are single, I always say you don't need a ring to commit to growth. And so, especially living in Utah, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about women. So throwing that out there. Being open to opportunities. So like I said, let's see if I can get the next slide to maybe move for us here. It should just be the right one. Oh, I thought I clicked. Okay. It's just it was advancing earlier. Is it still in presenter mode? There we go. So being open to opportunities. So first of all, I was a super awkward kid. So like I said, I grew up here in Utah. Of all places, I actually grew up in Santa Quinn. And I always tell people it's like one of the towns on your way to Vegas. And they're like, okay, yeah, I've probably been there. And so I grew up in a super small town. There wasn't a lot of Hispanics, Latinos around me. I was one of 2 in my elementary school. And so, you know, there was already that challenge of me obviously standing out. I remember an exercise, that picture on the left, one of my teachers in 2nd grade thought it would be great for everybody to bring their baby pictures and then for the class to guess who was who. Well, I was the only Latina, and historically, like my family never took baby pictures. It's like not a thing in the Hispanic culture, like taking baby pictures, especially not years ago, right? So I showed up with that picture. And so people were really quick to guess who I was, you know? And so I felt like I got really good early on at being in uncomfortable situations and standing out and just kind of owning that. And so that was one thing that I was definitely intimidated about with going into corporate, going into tech, was feeling like I was going to need to change who I was and kind of leave myself at the door. So I just got really good at embracing that. My mom was obsessed with moños. And so that means bows. And so all my teachers infamously remember me as the girl with the bows. And as you can tell, they were not small. So at least I, you know, had some sense of style in the sense that I was matching. So being open to opportunity, even if opportunity comes knocking at your door, you've got to be willing to open that door. And that's how I got my start in tech. I actually graduated from Utah Valley University with a degree in business management and marketing. So I love the idea of business and marketing. Like I said, that was instilled with my dad and his business early on. Tech wasn't on my radar at all, but I was 3 months prior to graduating and I knew that I needed a job and I would like it to be a job in my field. And so a friend of mine, Gerard there actually, said, you know what, you've got great organizational skills. I did a lot of campus-wide programming. I was super involved in student government. And so I had enjoyed aspects of that. And he said, we've got a conference coming up. At the time, it was a company called @Task, recently got acquired by Adobe, but it was Workfront not too long ago. And so I got brought on with them to help with their user conference. And again, I had basic skills in event programming, conferencing, relationship building. And he was like, I think you should apply for this. It's for a tech company. I was like, I have no idea. Like, why do I want to work in computers? That seems nerdy and lame. But, you know, I took a chance, turned in my application, and then they offered me the internship position. I worked my tail off during that intern. All I knew that I didn't know everything that was happening exactly, like when people were talking about software as a service and just really basic things. I was not used to being in corporate at all. And so everything felt very intimidating and kind of overwhelming. I remember one time we went out to dinner, and it's common now that you do client dinners, and oftentimes people put stuff on their cards and get reimbursed. And I remember as an intern, there was some situation where I ended up having to put a large amount of money like on a card, and I was freaking out because I was like, are they gonna pay me back? Like, how does this work exactly? So just like really, really basic things I had no context of. But fast forward, I worked that internship for about 5 months. It got to a point where they didn't know if they could bring me on full time because they were hiring a new VP of marketing. But they said, we really like you, keep coming in, and hopefully he'll have a chance to interview you soon, and we'll kind of go from there. And so I was the joke for a little bit on the team, where everyone would just say, like, do you know if you're staying or going? Do you have a job? And I was like, I don't know. I keep showing up and they're paying me, so I'm just gonna just show up and see what happens. So I took that opportunity, and I was so thankful. They actually opened up a full-time position for me to stay on the marketing team. From corporate events, I grew a career into lead gen and demand generation. Currently the director of demand gen for the Americas team at Instructure. We're the makers of Canvas. So if you have little ones at home or teens, you may have been familiar with our product. Hopefully you like it. If not, don't let me know. So that's how I got started. And it was just being open to opportunities, building authentic relationships. People say cash is king. I always say being authentic is king. Authenticity to me has always been the greatest ROI. One thing I knew is that I was really good at raising my hand and asking the questions, asking for clarification all throughout my education. I was thankful to, like I said, graduate from UVU. I was a first-generation college graduate, graduated with no debt at all. I was able to be on scholarship and kind of work my way through school. And a lot of that came in me just being the first to say, like, I don't have a lot of money, but I know other people do, and I'm going to find those people and I'm going to ask them questions. And that's how it got started. And I feel like a lot of times we're so afraid to feel like, I don't want to be the one to be raising my hand and, figuring things out. And so my biggest thing is, don't fake it till you make it. Like, take the time to develop your craft, take the time to figure it out until you make it, and ask as many questions. And it's amazing how many people are actually willing to help you out. And I just got really good at coffee dates. I would find people who had what I wanted, and I would just ask them, help me understand how you got there. I would 15, 20 minutes of your time. Like, we can do coffee, we can do it on the phone. And so I just got really good at being the kid to ask the most questions. And that's kind of how I navigated through the business. Committing to growth. I really emphasize this one, again, just working on your skill set. I have spent a lot of time in workshops, so kudos to you guys for even just coming to something like this and tuning in, because I am constantly pouring into myself and investing, whether that's in marketing, books, skill sets, connecting with people. And like I said, it's the after hours work that makes the biggest difference. And I noticed that with my internship. Like, again, it was something that was so out of where I had been, but I actually took a lunch break and slept under my desk because it was like a few days before our conference, and I was so tired. We were stuffing badges, and I was like, I don't even want to eat. I'm so tired. I literally just want to take a break. And I took a nap under my desk, and my coworker snapped a picture. And I remember my interview, my VP at the time that I interviewed with, he was like, I've heard nothing but great things about you. Like, you're always willing to help the team out kind of wherever needed. And I have always, and throughout my career, that's always been my thing. It's just put in the work, and people will notice, the right people will notice. Be yourself and kind of commit to growth. I think we kind of went back to, maybe they can put it on that slide right after, kind of skip through these ones. So that's been a big takeaway. Again, be willing to invest in yourself. If you think of professions like doctors, physicians, anything, you invest in becoming a lifelong learner. And I always tell people, like, the work doesn't stop, after graduation or after your next title. In fact, I feel like I work more now as a director than I did, and so a lot of times people have this conception that as you go up the ladder, up the chain, that you can take a break and sit back. And then for me, it's all now about my team and how I can help them and how I can send the ladder back down. And that's also been a huge skill set that I've learned, is I'm not afraid to have people that are smarter around me. This bag of popcorn. So I love popcorn. I don't know if you guys are big popcorn fans, but I used to stare and just watch the popcorn turn in the microwave, which apparently is unhealthy for you. But I will say that the one thing about popcorn that I love and that I always think about, and because people, oftentimes compare their chapter to other people's chapter. And so people see me now speaking and stuff, but it's like, if you would have seen where I was sleeping under my cubicle or sleeping on campus because I didn't want to pay to get out, so I would wait till 9 p.m. for the gate to come up. You know, it's like you do whatever you have to do. And this bag of popcorn, I feel like, is a lot of us where we're all in the same bag. We're all these different little kernels. And as you apply heat and pressure, right, different kernels start popping at different times. And it's not that the other kernels in the bag should feel bad about it. It's that their time is coming. And so I just tell people it's not that you're not popping. It just means you need a little more time in the microwave and you'll get there. So think about that. I've had an opportunity, and I just kind of want to share some highlights and some wins of what tech has meant for me and my journey, what my life looks like now, thanks to that internship that I took and that chance that I took on myself in this company. I was so excited to see that they got acquired by Adobe, because I was with at Task for almost 5 years. So I had a chance to see them go through 3 different rebrands and really be a part of that. From there, I went to become a VP of marketing at a healthcare tech company, and they just got acquired about a week ago. And then now I work on Instructure, and I absolutely love it. But I've had a chance to be on multiple different TV shows throughout the state, KSL 5. I do segments on ABC4, Fox 13 News, and it's all just kind of been one step at a time. And so I always tell people, like, yeah, you might look at the end of the journey and again, compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 20. But if you remain consistent and focus on those 3 things that I had mentioned, it's absolutely possible. Another big thing for me was I was able to graduate from college, like I said, with no debt. And I was surprised because I remember the days where I didn't know how I was going to afford to pay for college or get an education or continue an education. And had an opportunity to, again, just get connected with people, really focus on my studies. And I was part of their I Am UVU campaign, which was one of their first Latinas to be published on the back of their magazine. I actually thought that this was just a campus magazine. I didn't realize it went out to like all of their alumni, to like thousands of people. And so I started getting messages from friends that were like, your face is in my mailbox. So that was just a, again, just a very humbling opportunity. And it's just thinking back to where I started, not knowing how I was going to afford college, to that opportunity. It's just so many things have happened in between that. And so again, just kind of stay the course. I had the opportunity to be one of Utah Business Magazine's 30 Women to Watch last year. And so, or in 2019, and, just an unbelievable experience with our community leaders here. And the biggest thing for me has just been, I've always wanted to travel, and I love that, in the tech world, you get, again, exposed to so many opportunities that lead to opportunities. And so one of the things that I've been able to do is launch my own business. And my first business was a luxury travel business. And that took me to places like the Dominican Republic. I've been to Thailand. I got to play with this little cub there. Been to the pyramids in Egypt. And so I'm a huge, huge world traveler. But of all the trips that I've taken, the one that stands out the most for me, this Sahara Desert, is this one that I took with my mom. And so for me, family has been my greatest motivator. Like I said, my parents being immigrants from Mexico, coming here and not speaking English, just being able to make them proud and do something for them. In tech, you may know or may not know that oftentimes you have what's referred to as President's Club, where you earn a trip based on achieving a certain amount of either sales or somebody that's made a big impact for sales. And so my mom hates flying, but she's always had this dream of going to Hawaii. And I told her that we can't drive there. And so she would need to eventually get on a plane, right? And so I won this opportunity to be part of President's Club, and they announced where they were going, and it was going to be to Maui. And it's like, light bulb. I had never been myself. I absolutely love traveling. And she was the first person I get to take a +1. She was the first person that came to mind. To be fair, I asked my dad if he wanted to join, but it was like peak planting season for him, so he opted out. But I brought my mom with me, and I just remember, especially as Latinas, I feel like oftentimes it's so hard to, people say it's hard to be what you don't see, and I don't believe that. I feel like oftentimes you have to be willing to be the one that steps out. And that was me. I remember talking to my mom and she was like, why are you always working so much? Like, first of all, mija, quiero que te cases, el novio season. And she just didn't understand because she grew up in a completely different world. And so I knew that in order for me to get to where I wanted to go, my circle was going to have to change and I was going to have to make some hard choices, which meant sometimes not being around my family as much as I wish I could have. Or, for those of you that have kids, being around your kids as much. And oftentimes you feel that guilt or you feel that judgment from people that are like, se quiere mucho, or like, what is she doing? And that was me all throughout my education. I was like, you know what? I know where I want to go and I would love to have you come with me. But sometimes you got to step out and do that. And so I remember taking my mom to Hawaii, and at first she was, first of all, she hadn't been on a plane in 10 years. So going through the airport, I'm TSA pre-check. And so I was like, no, you can't come in the scanner with me. So just like little things, because she hadn't traveled in 10 years. So that was a fun experience. And then she also kept wanting to pick up all the blankets on the Delta flight. And I was like, no, Mom, like just you can take 2, because she's like, these will be great for the grandkids, right? And so I love my mom. But I just remember we got to Maui and I told her she could pick out any car that she wanted as our rental car. And she picked out this red convertible Mustang. She was so excited. This was us at one of the luau's there. And it was just so funny because at first she felt very like guilty about everything. Like, oh no, like I don't, we don't need to do that. I don't need to buy that. And then she got real comfortable real quick. Like 2 days into the trip, I took her to the breakfast buffet and, she's like, oh, I'll just have like my coffee, whatever. Like I don't need a big breakfast. And then I remember like 2 days later, she was like, so she's like, vamos a comer al buffet? Like we're going to the buffet again tomorrow, right? And I was like, yeah, we got it. We were just a small walk from the beach from where we were. We also got her into Facebook. So she was like, para mi Facebook. So she also had Hawaiian shaved ice for the first time in Hawaii. It was like unlimited, all you can eat. But this is my favorite picture and kind of favorite memory that for me really brought, the years of work all together for me, really made it all worth it. Was we were on a boat in a catamaran in the middle of the ocean, and there's dolphins and the captain's up there having fun with us. And I look back and my mom's just like chilling in the breeze, hair blowing, having a model moment. And, at that moment when I had a conversation with her, she was like, I get it. Like now I get what you were doing, what you were working on all this time, and the difference it's made, between us and my siblings. And so I just say that again, as a testament to say that it can be such a rewarding career. Take advantage of every opportunity, even if it's uncomfortable. Focus on developing authentic relationships and really commit to growth. So I'd love to connect with you guys after, but that's it.
All right. We are ready to introduce our moderator, and she will introduce our panelists. I'd like to introduce you to Zanya. Zanya is an amazing leader, and we are so excited to have her here. She is VP of Latin American Sales for Instructure. Education is her passion, and she also has done amazing work with women. She did a project in Peru to help entrepreneurial women in that area of the world. So we are so excited to have her, and we will welcome her up to the stage.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We're going to introduce our panelists. Oh, no, the other way around. All right. So, Michelle, if you would like to come up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you all to come, and then each one of us is going to introduce ourselves for a couple of minutes. So thank you, Michelle, for being here. And Maciel, thank you for coming. Feel free to take a seat. We're going to be here for a little while. And Andrea All right, thank you. And we're gonna go back and we can have the time. And then Annette, the last one. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, let's go back to the first one over here. Before we get started, I was asked to give a quick intro about myself, and then each one of us will take the time. So, as Trissa said, I work at Instructure, so Crystal is my coworker, and now we get to work very closely as she's in charge of demand gen for all the Americas, including Latin America. And actually, it was Instructure, my first job in technology. That's what got me here in Utah. But prior to technology, I actually got a broad set of experiences, anything from an internship in the Middle East selling water pumps to helping people get jobs during the recession, and even fashion. That was fun in LA. And lastly, that experience that Trissa mentioned, going to Peru, helping women entrepreneurs, and seeing the impact that education had, and also the impact that education had in my life, got me thinking, okay, this is really what I want to do. And I got into searching education technology companies. That's how I found Instructure. And they were looking for somebody in sales, in international sales. And I've never carried a quota before. I had business development experience, but definitely it was a stretch. So I found the person that I was gonna report to, and I pitched myself, and they opened up the door, and the journey has been awesome. So that has been my experience in technology so far, and hopefully we'll get to hear from this beautiful and smart and successful panel that we have here. So, Michelle, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, can you hear me fine? Okay, perfect. So I'm Michelle Damian, and I'm currently a software engineer at Deseret Book. A little background about me. I pretty much grew up on Utah. My dad's from Mexico City, my mom's from Idaho. We lived in California for a little bit, but we came here when I was 1, so I am a Utah resident. I grew up on the west side of Salt Lake City, Kearns, that was my favorite area. And I am also a divorced single mom of a rambunctious 3-year-old boy, and took a year to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was looking at careers mostly that had flexibility, because I was looking like long-term, and I'd love to work from home and something that paid pretty well, decent. And web development or developer jobs would keep coming up. And no way I could do that. That's like for really, really smart people, you know. And I decided, well, it doesn't hurt to try. I mean, I got a year, so why not? So I went to the Salt Lake Community College, where I took a couple of computer science classes, and I was just hooked. I loved being able to build something that someone could use. And I just felt so like giddy about it. Like, I just remember being like, look what I made. It says hello world. Isn't that great? And I just really enjoyed it. And I loved how it was logic based. And so my first job was actually at the community college while I was studying there. I helped update the website to like newer designs. And since it was only a temporary job, I was also doing a quality assurance internship at Deseret Book, because I was just like, well, we'll see what's out there and see what I can do. And I've been at Deseret Book ever since. They offered me a full-time job after my internship was over. They're just like, yes, we need quality assurance and you're good at it. And so I stayed there, and then they're like, why don't you do web development too? You pretty much know what these guys know too. And so it's just like, yes, I would love to. And now I'm a software engineer since the scope of our projects have grown, and I've just really enjoyed it since.
Thank you. We'll get there. Maciel, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, so my name is Maciel. I grew up in Mexico City. I moved to the States when I was 13. And I got my start in tech in high school when I signed up for a cooking class. And my mom, in a very Latino way, showed up at the high school and said, there is no way you're going to go to high school to learn how to cook. So she said, you need to learn tech. I'm gonna go speak to your counselor and you're gonna start programming class instead. And I loved it. Both of my parents are software engineers, and I always swore that I would never do what they did, and here I am. I'm a software engineer at a company in Lehigh called Simple Nexus. I work in their platform team, which is a lot of the jobs that no one really likes in in college to do for a career as a computer scientist, but the pay is great. So I personally love it. I graduated from Brigham Young University in Provo from computer science. I did a lot of different things before I knew what I wanted to do in tech. I did data analysis. I did research. At one point, I thought I was going to go get a PhD straight out of college. Then I decided I needed a break. So now I have time to breathe and enjoy salsa dancing. I love rock climbing and yoga. So it's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Maciel. Andrea, tell us a little bit about you.
Hello, hello. Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is such a fun panel. Fun fact: Simple Nexus was one of our first customers. We have a special place in our heart for that. And instructor Josh Coates, the former CEO, is one of my personal mentors and who's been a great cheerleader for my journey. So big love for instructor as well. So my name is Andrea Ivanis. I was born in Bolivia. I immigrated here when I was a kid with my family. I grew up in Provo, which is why I look Bolivian, but I sound like a Provo girl. And so I went to Utah Valley University, so go Wolverines, and I have been working in tech ever since. So I've known I wanted to start something my entire life. If you've been to Latin America, you know there's this entrepreneurial spirit that exists when you just walk in, just breathe the air. Everything is negocios, right? Everything is business, and that's just been honestly, I think it's in our DNA. Whether people here start a business or not, I think it's in our DNA to have this entrepreneurial fire within us. So I've always known I was going to start a company, and I graduated college at 20, jumped right into tech. So even though I'm young, I've been in tech my whole career. I was able to work at some of the fastest growing tech companies in Silicon Slopes. Woo. And I was able to be a director by 25 and a vice president by 26. And then I decided that I could do it myself. And I was able to learn as much as I could during that time. And so I did. Now, it is the hardest thing ever, and it's the worst dream job. I will never glorify it. Lots of late nights. I was not being antisocial in the back. I was just getting to emails that I ignored for far too long, and happy to talk to anyone about that. But it's been a great journey. It's honestly the most rewarding thing. Right now, we're about to raise capital for the company that I run. This is the second go around in fundraising, and so each time is not that great. It's not that fun, but we do it and we love it. And I've been very fortunate. I was named on the Forbes 30 under 30 this year, which was really exciting. I was also part of the Utah 40 under 40 last year. I've won some awards like Utah Women in Sales, the SEGO Awards, Women Tech Council. So huge fan of tech. It's changed my life, and everything I do, I want to make sure that I can make my parents proud, make myself proud, and show that Latina people, Latina women have a lot to offer. And I keep saying this all the time, but there's so much untapped potential. And so when I got the email about this panel, it was a no-brainer. I'm happy to take an hour out of my crazy schedule to hopefully meet as many of you as I can, and do my part to encourage you to get out in tech and again uncover that untapped potential. So happy to be here.
Thank you, Andrea. And last but not least, Annette.
Hey, thank you for this opportunity. So I am Annette, and I was born and raised in Mexico. My mom lives in Cancun, so if any of you guys want to go, hit me up. I came here when I was 20 years old. I decided to come to Utah because I wanted to go to BYU, so I ended up going to BYU, but I didn't know what to do. You go to BYU to get a husband and not a degree, but it didn't work out, so I didn't get a husband, but I got a degree in business management. And then when I was about to graduate, I was like, oh crap, now I think that I have to get a job, So I ended up working for Goldman Sachs. So I had experience in the financial industry because I did my internship in American Express, and then I was working in the accounting department at BYU. So that's why I ended up at Goldman Sachs. So I was at Goldman Sachs for 2.5 years. And then after 2.5 years, I realized that I didn't want to stay in the financial industry. So I was a little bit sad because I thought that I had wasted my time and I didn't know what to do. And I thought that I had to leave and start from scratch, or maybe, go back to school and do a master's in order to switch gears. But luckily, Foundvine, the company that I work for right now, found me, and they gave me the opportunity to work for them without any tech experience. And I didn't consider myself a tech savvy person, but I took the opportunity and I started as a data ops specialist, where I was able to be exposed to data and work with Excel, and just like working in a tech company, everything changed. Like the culture, the people you work with, the environment. It was awesome. So after working for at this position, I got the opportunity to work for the same company at this other team for the data migrations team. That's what I'm doing right now. So I learned SQL, and that was another opportunity that I had at this company where I didn't even know SQL. To be honest, I didn't even know what SQL was. And then I took a course online and started working at this position. And then I realized that, I made the right decision leaving the financial industry and now working at this company where I'm able to have more flexibility, like working from home. And yeah, so that's pretty much me. Thank you.
Thank you guys for helping us learn more about your journey. So what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to be asking some questions, and then we're going to have an open Q&A time. Okay, so let's start with you, Annette. From here, we heard from different backgrounds, and we believe that there's a tech job out there for everyone. What are some opportunities that you hear in tech for somebody that is barely gonna get started?
Well, I think that the tech industry is really a good industry where you can find a lot of opportunities that can be according to your fit. Like Crystal said, just because you work in tech or you work for a tech company, that doesn't mean that you are like software engineer. You can, do marketing or like, be in HR. So I think that even though it sounds like you are doing tech or something technical, you can also find like more opportunities. And like, for example, if you study accounting, I think that your options are limited because your knowledge is just like, it's accounting. So there are not more options where you think that you can perform. But in the tech industry, you can find the opportunity to see where you fit and it still gives you the opportunity to have some perks like, flexibility, work from home and all that. So yeah.
Thank you. Now, Andrea, you are a CEO of a company right now, and you've definitely worked in many other tech companies. What are some typical benefits that tech companies provide for employees?
In my former life, so the past company, I was the vice president of people operations. So this is actually a really great and relevant question. So thank you. So tech is so interesting because unlike other corporate America type jobs, it's competitive. There are so many great companies, mine included, that are always looking for talent. So when I hear intros like these amazing women, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if I could hire them. So, part of being a CEO is you're always recruiting. So I'll talk to both of you. I'll talk to all of you after. And so you have an advantage here, really, because all these tech companies are trying to find the best of the best. There's a big push for diversity in tech, which is great. And I think we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And so when you go into the conversation knowing that you have optionality first and foremost, which is great. And so but what that means is tech companies are going to be competing with each other to convince you to come work for them. So that looks like flexibility at a lot of companies. That looks like perks. They're not benefits. Benefits are, the traditional medical, health, dental, all that fun stuff. Perks like scooters in the office, free food, all that fun stuff. That's great. They're perks. It's different. Childcare is another big one that we've seen. I always try to err on the side of flexibility. So for my employees, for example, I don't give them a set time that they have to work. You're in your seat from 9 to 5, whatever. I don't care when they work. I don't care where they work, as long as we get our job done. So one of my employees right now is like in South Dakota. He just sent me a message with the picture. He's traveling in a van right now, and he's getting his job done. So always keep in mind that you have the option between lots of different tech companies, and don't just ask about the benefits or traditional benefits that you're used to. Know that every company out there, they're trying to compete. So know that there's additional things that they can give you, like flexibility, like those perks that we talked about. All you have to do is ask, and it's there.
Awesome. Now, maybe some of you joining online or here, you're thinking, okay, tech means coding. Not necessarily, right? As Annette shared with us, but Maciel, you're an engineer. So what if I do want to be an engineer and I have no coding experience?
The great thing about tech is that we build the internet and we put everything out there. So if you have no prior coding experience, just know that there's a lot of free stuff out there that you can go and Google. Like, depending on your level, you might say, I'm going to Google a 1-week course to learn Python 101. And by the end, you've got that. If you are looking for more formal education, you don't have to sign up for a college degree and be like, I'm going to go 4 years. That's it. You have options like certifications. You have options like boot camps. And if you're concerned on how that's going to look to a company, I know that we care. Like I want to tell you not to be worried about the fact that you don't think you have enough bullet points in your resume. Because every time someone comes in, the most important thing for me when I'm interviewing a potential engineer is that they like learning. So my greatest piece of advice in this one is just take the next small thing, whether that's one of the, like a YouTube video, a 1-week course. If you feel ready for a boot camp, go do it. The next small thing, so that when you show up to an interview, when you show up to a company, you can tell them, I love learning. And as a software engineer, that's the number one thing you'll need. Tech is always evolving. If you love learning, we'd love to have you. So that's my thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Annette, you told us about the switch into from the financial industry into tech. So what are some tips that you can share about reducing the fear of changing careers?
So I know that a lot of people think that just because they feel old, they don't have the opportunity to switch gears and go in a different direction. And but I didn't think that. I think that it's always good to take the risk and try new things. But of course, you have to do your research. Now we have Google. You can talk to your friends. You can, talk to people that who are working already in the tech industry and see if it is the right fit for you. Because you don't want to switch careers if you actually don't know if you are actually a good fit or if you like it. So I think that it's never too late. And like Crystal also said, just because you graduated from school, that doesn't mean that your life is stopped there. Like, you have the opportunity to keep learning, and it's good to have like a background or knowledge or experience in a different field. And then if you can just like keep learning new things, then you can also apply the things that you learned before.
Awesome. Andrea, the question is for you. You talked about some of the mentors that you have, and you rely on the network that you have here in Silicon Slopes. For somebody that is starting and has no network, what tips would you give them to start building that network?
That is a great and very important question. I started like that as well. My parents, like I said, we came to the U.S. when from Bolivia, so we didn't know anyone, let alone people in tech, right? So I had to start from nothing as well. And I think one of the biggest things you can do is just go out there. Remember that the worst thing someone can say to you is no. Even at this event, practice it tonight. You go talk to a few people, and maybe someone doesn't have the time. That's okay. You can't expect the world from everyone, but the worst thing someone can say to you is no. They don't have time or whatever. But ask, always ask. Crystal said it in her presentation. The coffee dates, great idea. Honestly, Zoom dates, whatever it is, just ask for advice. I think that's a big thing. In fundraising, they always say, like, if you ask for money, someone's going to give you advice. If you ask for advice, they're going to give you money. I disagree to some extent, but it's a great principle to live by. Always ask for help. The worst thing someone can say to you is no. Now, when you're looking at building your network, just always remember that, like, it takes a village. Ironically enough, our very first investors are the VC fund that we raised from is Village Global, and that's like their tagline. It's called Village Global because it takes a village, right? And I love that so much because even though like I may be the CEO or whatever, there's a whole army of people behind me. Behind the scenes that help support me every single day, that help support our team every single day. Our team may be small, but there are investors and mentors and advisors that if they weren't there, we wouldn't be where we are today. Customers, early adopters like Simple Nexus, one more shout out. And it's just, it is a game changer. So get out there, get uncomfortable, ask, and just start networking with anybody and everybody. Because if they can't help you, this is actually one more thing I'll share. If they can't help you, ask for someone who can. So when you meet someone, maybe they're not the right fit. Maybe you approach me and I can't help you with what you're trying to solve, but maybe my friend can, or my other friend can, and I'll introduce. So always ask for those intros, always be proactive in doing that. And just remember, it takes a village. Know behind every successful entrepreneur or every successful business person, there's a village. So.
Yeah, fantastic advice. Now, Michelle, let's go back to you. And when it comes to engineering and entry level programming, what do you think a company is looking for just your first job in engineering?
So I think Bastiel really hit on the point of like a love of learning. We love to see someone that's eager to learn. Like, I know a question we usually like to ask is like, tell us something you've learned recently. And just you can see how much they enjoy it, because in entry level, you will be asking a lot of questions, and it's okay to ask questions. I think that's also another quality we like to see is someone that asks questions and is not afraid to admit mistakes, because especially in entry level positions, you will make mistakes. And it's okay. Like, the world won't crash and burn. It's okay. And just, I'm thinking with the entry level, just again, that willingness to learn, admit your mistakes, ask questions. But we also like to see, this might sound like really cliche, but a self-starter. Like, there's a lot of free resources out there, like Maciel was saying. Like, one of the people we hired is actually completely self-taught, and he's great. And so it is possible. We just like to see someone that likes to learn. And if you feel like you have to be like perfect at knowing a programming language, it's not true. I know most women tend to think like with job requirements, they have to meet 100% of that list to apply. It's not true. Like, that's just a nice to have list. Just apply anyway. And yeah, like, I just think an eagerness to learn is one of the biggest things, and just focus on one programming language, because the nice thing about programming languages, the concepts are pretty much the same across the board. So if you can learn one, you can easily translate it to another.
Yeah, great. And probably at this point, with talking about coding and entry-level positions, some of you online or here might be thinking, so what does a day in an engineering position look like? So Maciel, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
For sure. So I'll usually get on Zoom, which makes me go to my office, which is my living room. I will be there, jump on a call with my teammates. We'll go over the priorities for the week. I'll go the priorities of my day. One of the things that I will always tell people is like, make sure that you're working for a company where collaboration is encouraged. So one of my favorite parts out of these meetings is that I can bring up problems that I'm running into, and people that are more experienced than me might be able to say like, oh, I've definitely like solved that before. Let me help you on that. And I can do the same. Once that's done, once I know that I'm taking care of for the day, I'll jump on my projects. And to tell you that my day goes super smoothly would be lying sometimes. I think people think that software engineering is really boring and you're just sitting on your desk and you're just typing keys over and over again. But one of my favorite parts of it is that once you know enough, you will have people around the company to help. So I'll welcome a distraction from a colleague that's like, I do not know how to solve this problem. Can you help me? And I'll be like, yeah, for sure. 10 minutes, putting my work down. We jump on a call. I get to know them about, I get to talk to them about their day, about their spouse, about their child, about how they're doing. I'll get to help them through a problem, and then I can come back to my own work. One of my favorite parts too is that nowadays my lunch breaks are as long as I want them to be. So I can jump off for 3 hours, come back, and then work a little later into the night. There'll be some times that I'll be working on stuff that's really important. I'll have to work at 7 or at 8. And I know that means that then on Wednesday, if I want to take a random yoga class from 8 to 11, I can be like, I feel good about my work. I know that I worked last night. I know that I'm flexible, and then I will put in the hours and I will give good work. So I deserve a break. I deserve something out of my routine. I deserve spontaneity. So that's kind of what my day looks like.
Thank you. And our last question, just to make sure that we're keeping track of time, since we are launching Tech Mom Latinas, Michelle, you told us about your little ones, right? And how you were looking for flexibility in your job. So, tell us a little bit more about your experience being a mom and switching into a career in tech, and how would that help you going forward, and how it has helped you being a mom?
That question's really near and dear to my heart because it was one of the reasons why I got into tech in the first place. And I didn't know I was going to get divorced later down the road. And I remember when I was going through the divorce process, it's just like, oh, what are we going to do financially? You got the mortgage, you got the bills and all that stuff. And when his dad like moved out, and it was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And then it was just like, oh, I got this. It was fine. And so like the benefit to my family was that I was able to be at home with my little one, even like when he was a baby, being able to like nurse him from home and just like be on meetings like when I needed to, like the flexibility Maciel was talking about, and just being able to provide for my little family. It wasn't what I was expecting at all, but I was so glad I had this job during that time, because the situation would have been a lot different if I didn't have this flexible job where I could just, oh, I'm going to put my son down for a nap, or he had a rough night last night, so I'm going to get on like around 11, but just ping me if you have any questions. And I really think that has benefited my son. And I love that he can see me work from home, because it's just like, mommy's going to go work now, and I go downstairs to my little office and then I come up, it's like, okay, I'm going to have time. Or it's like, hey, do you want to do some kickboxing with mommy? And so I really love that I can have that flexibility where I can really be there for him, but he can also see that I'm working and doing something that I enjoy. So yeah, it's just really close to my heart. And I really think this job gave me a lot of opportunities to be a better mom in a lot of ways for my son.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. Now we're going to switch to Q&A. Do we still have time for open Q&A? Yes. Okay, awesome. So Robin, I know you were going to help us with some online questions. Okay. And then also for you guys here, we have somebody that is going to come around with the mic. So, and for you guys in the panel, whoever wants to jump in and answer the question, feel free to do so. So who would like to start? Yes, over here.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. So I'd love to hear more about sort of the other job opportunities that are non-technical in tech, especially for those since COVID that have lost positions, that are super entry level, or really just kind of getting started in a completely new industry like we've been talking about. Just learning about some more of the jobs and opportunities that maybe we haven't discussed yet.
Happy to take a stab here, because my background wasn't in coding. It was actually, my first job was recruiting, smile and dialing, trying to get people to come work at this tech startup that I was at. And one of the trends that we've seen is, again, obviously people are getting laid off, but revenue is king, right? Companies need revenue. So anything that's tied to bringing in revenue for the company, those are going to be coveted roles. And so in conversations that I've had with like other CEOs, that's something that they want to hold closer to them. So there are entry level jobs available, whether it's like marketing or sales. You have to get out of your comfort zone, but if it's tied to bringing in revenue to a company, those positions not only are going to be a little bit safer, they're more like recession proof, but they're also going to be you have a lot more upside, right? So with tech, they're considered high paying jobs, which is great. But something like sales, again, might be something that you've never considered, but there's so much more upside with that. Recruiting is very similar to sales as well. There's entry level positions in HR. Again, you don't have the luxury of choosing anything in a kind of a down recession, or like in a recession type economy when people are losing their jobs, but there are other admin type positions available or revenue generating positions available. So if for whatever that's worth, and I'm happy to chat with you after, if anyone has a similar question, but people are looking, people are still hiring. And so you just got to weed through it.
I wouldn't mind taking a stab at that as well, because I know, like, I started out in quality assurance, which was like testing. Like, there's some manual QA jobs, and that's always a good place to start. And there's also like UX design research, so like user experience research. So they always like someone that's going out and like interviewing people or gathering data. So that's always an option as well, or even just tech support. Because I think the nice part about those jobs, like quality assurance and tech support, you could really learn how the product works and like get to know the product well, which could probably lead to more opportunities in the future.
How would you overcome imposter syndrome?
I would say it took me a while. I think I've been working with Simple Nexus for about 2 years now, and came in I had the opportunity to go into a team that was really experienced. And one thing that I will say is, if it scares you, don't. Like, just take a deep breath, try to go in. It was really difficult. I think it helped me learn a lot. I would say you can attack it on 2 fronts. One, you have to really work on knowing that your worth is there. Your opinion is valuable. Just because you are who you are, and just because you are different, you have your own experiences, you have your own work, you will be valuable, and people hired you for a reason. So on that very front, show up, be yourself, and work on knowing that you are bringing growth. And on the second one, I would say practice, practice, practice. So much of my confidence comes, I feel like, from doing my work over and over and over until I'm like, I've got this. I've done it before. I know I'm good at it. I know I've studied. So that's my advice. I would say be kind to yourself. That's like near and dear to my heart, because I feel like I can struggle with that quite a bit. But yeah, don't quit. It gets way better. So.
Can I take a stab at that one as well? I love what you said. I can't change that. That's exactly it. I just want to add one thing, and that's what we're doing in this room. Everyone here, when you think of like a tech, like a CEO or a founder of a tech company, we think of like Bill Gates, we think of Steve Jobs, we think of Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, right? But what we're doing here, everyone online, is we're changing the face of technology. Every single one of us here has a role to play in that. And you know what? The face of technology, this is the face of technology. This is what a CEO tech looks like. Those beautiful little girls are what CEO tech looks like, tech CEOs look like. We have to continue to be present. We have to continue to show up. We have to continue to bring our sisters up on stage, give each other a platform, call each other out for the good things that we're doing, because that's how you change the face of technology. Tech CEOs in 5 years and 10 years are look different. They're not going to say the standard Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. They're going to say people like us. And that's such a beautiful thing, not just for us, but for the next generation. So I think all of us have a responsibility, and it's something that we should honestly like hold very dear to us, but we have a responsibility to continue to show up, even though it might feel uncomfortable, even though it might feel like we are imposters. It feels like that all the time. We have that responsibility to show up, at least for the next generation. So.
Thanks so much for everything you've all shared. It's amazing. I have a couple of questions, but I'm just going to ask one. So a lot of what I've seen in the workforce, not just here in Utah, but across the country, is the challenge for moms who have been stay-at-home moms to re-enter the workforce and to have an opportunity to leverage the skills that they've learned there. Here at Rev Road, we have 17 out of our 40 plus companies are women-led or minority-led. like it's unheard of. And many of them were moms who came back into the workforce. What do you recommend to those moms? What do you tell them to help them get not just in at an entry level, but in at a great level?
I was talking about this with my dad because my extended family has been having a really hard time with the pandemic. A lot of my uncles losing jobs, a lot of my aunts losing jobs, and even people that were like right in the industry when COVID hit are having a hard time right now. And I was telling him, you know, this certification that I was looking into, or this certification that I did, if we saw someone come in the door, they said, I passed this exam last week, we would hire them on the spot. So I think some practical advice would be look at what's hot in tech and what you can learn and teach to yourself. Especially if you don't have a job right now, I would say that's where I would start. Just go study, be able to throw those like big words in your resume. And if you've got that, people will be out there. But yeah, sorry to anyone who's going through that. That's a really tough spot to be.
I'd like to take a stab at that one as well, because I know there's something called like momternships, because it's like an internship, but it's like for women that are coming back into the workforce from stay-at-home jobs. And I wish there was more of those, because I think women feel intimidated when they're like jobs. And when there's internship postings, it's just like, oh, you have to be studying. I'm not a student. But just like Maciel was mentioning, there's a lot of certification processes online, and like free Code Camp, Code Academy, they have a lot of good resources. So if you just show that, it's like, well, technically you kind of are a student. So if that kind of makes you feel a little better or feel more confident in applying for those kinds of jobs, that always helps. And I also think just try to leverage the skills you already do have, because I'm sure you're doing something before and you were doing a lot as moms. Like being a mom is a lot of work and it's exhausting and it's so rewarding. But take that to your advantage. It's just like, well, I was pretty good at organizing and managing schedules. And even like when I was doing graphic design, it was actually graphic design that got me my community college job in tech. Because they're like, oh, that's what you studied before. It's like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that's great. We'd love that. So try to use the skills you already have to your advantage.
I like to add that as well. So I mentioned briefly, I helped a lot of people transition during the recession, right? So if you remember in 2008, there were a lot of people laid off, and some of those jobs were never, ever going to come back. So they had to figure out how to reposition their skills and abilities into whatever was going to be relevant for the future. So I think it's the same. Every career transition is asking, what are we doing currently? What have we done before? And how can we sell it? That's why I'm in sales. I really believe that that's what we do. At the end of the day, you're promoting change, right? And so that's what you're doing. So I think take a good look at what you've done before and put it on a spreadsheet, then go ahead and sell the heck out of it. That's what I've done every single time, and it works. So I'm confident it will be the same thing for you.
I have an online question. One of our attendees says, how can we tailor online applications to get past online screeners when our background doesn't seem tech heavy?
I'll go just because this is exactly what I did. You got to go find who's a hiring manager and go try to talk to that person and say, this is what I can bring to the table. This is what I can do. I know I'm not going to fit everything, but this is what I can do, right? And so just be bold. And if you don't know the person, as Andrea was saying, maybe somebody else can point you to the right direction. So just keep asking.
So I was working for Goldman Sachs and I didn't have any tech experience. I just knew Excel, barely. So when I applied for this position at this software company, I didn't have the experience, but I was able to demonstrate and show them that I was willing to learn and that I was a fast learner. And I think that your willingness is really important. And then you can start from, like doing something that you are comfortable with, and then you can keep growing. And that's what I did. I started doing well, I got hired with a position that it was pretty basic, but now thanks to my experience and the way that I was able to show them that I was fast learning, I was able to get promoted in less than a year.
Okay, so this is the final question, I guess. This is an online. Other than flexibility, what should a single mom be looking for at a tech company?
Now, I'm not a mom, but one thing that I feel pretty strongly about everyone, and especially women, is that you do your research on salaries. Make sure that you are getting competitive pay. And especially in tech, like we were saying, like it's competitive. Companies want people. You should be getting paid where you are worth. So that's just my 2 cents.
I'll add to that as well. That I think there's a theme tonight about being bold, about asking for what you want, about realizing that the worst thing someone can say to you is no. And at the end of the day, it comes like this. This is a great question to end on because if you are in a position where you have an offer or you are trying to negotiate, you know what that's going to look like, pick up the phone, ask someone, send a LinkedIn message to me or to anyone that you've met here tonight. I take about 1 call a week going, helping people through offers because I know what the market looks like. I know what they should be getting paid. And often people don't have exposure to that kind of data. And that's okay. No one's expecting you to know how much you should get paid, but maybe someone else does. So ask. Be bold. Whatever you do, don't just say yes to the first offer that is given your way. Because there's all like negotiating is actually a beautiful thing. There's always levers. There's always something that can happen. There's always room for something else. You might have to trade something, but there's always opportunity and there's always something that you're looking for. So the worst thing someone could say to you is no. All you have to do is show up. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is be bold.
I was the only woman for almost a year in my team. So I think that's another opportunity that moms have is that a lot of companies are looking for diversity. So, you know, in the tech world, most people are men. And I mean, just for the fact that you're a woman, you have like more opportunities to be hired because companies like diversity.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the questions and for each one of you to join us today. Is there something else that? Oh, Michelle, please, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, because it had to do with singles moms. So it was like, oh, I could say something. Like it. Oh my gosh, I forgot your name already. Sorry, Andrea. Sorry. But she mentioned it about perks. Like when you're looking at jobs, look at the perks because there's a lot of places that are starting to offer childcare, on-site childcare, which is great. And you really want to look at like the culture, as in look at like their about page and what they're about, and if those values match with yours. And again, like Maciel touched about, look at Glassdoor and salaries that they pay to know like, okay, they say they value their employees. Does that show in the data? So definitely go to Glassdoor to do your research and about perks and benefits. Like, is it unlimited vacation time? How's the paid sick time? Do they have paid sick time for the adults and for like children? Because that's another perk too. So really look at like the benefits page. And again, I think networking is another great way, like asking people that work there already, because that can really tell you a lot.
You're expected to negotiate. As a hiring manager, I'm expecting you to negotiate. So don't be shy. With that, we wrap it up. So thank you so much. And I'm going to be passing on to Trissa. All right. Thank you.
All right. We just have another 2. We just want to highlight really quick. Thank you again for our panelists. You guys can go ahead and sit down and take a breath. You guys did amazing and so much good content and so much good advice. So thank you so much for taking the time. We would like to just highlight another 2 of our sponsors really quick before we wrap up. We have Latinas in Tech, Utah chapter that had played a big part in this evening. And I'm going to invite Emily, who's on our board, to give us a little spill about Latinas in Tech.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I am so digging the magic in this room. I'm so glad you guys could attend. Want to share a little bit about Latinas in Tech. We are a global company, organization, nonprofit. We have about 14,000 subscribers, 5,000 active members. We have about 17 chapters. And we are here to support and empower women in tech. We actually work alongside top tech companies, places of higher learning, affinity groups and communities to provide a safe place for learning, mentorship, and recruitment. So we would love for you to join. Barcode, website, social sites, check us out. We'd love for you to interact with us. We're here. I know a lot of us on the board and a lot of our members are here to help in any way that we can. So this might mean opportunities in careers. This might mean helping build out a resume or mentoring you in your developer roles. And so, yeah, please lean on us. We're here. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Emily. All right, our next sponsor, she's going to dial in online. It's Rise Next, and she will tell us all about the Tech Moms and what Rise Next is up to.
We're not able to get her sound to come through the system for some reason, so I'm just going to take it from here. I know she's got some slides. We're just going to do this really fast. We know where are the slides going forward? Rise Next is an organization that is devoted to helping raise up the next generation of diverse technologists and leaders. Trina is our founder and CEO. You can see her there on the screen. And she's been sharing great, there she is, right? She's been sharing great information in the chat tonight. So Tech Moms, as we mentioned earlier, is focused specifically on helping women transition into tech careers. We have run a couple of successful cohorts this last fall. We have some of our graduates here with us in person tonight helping us out. We're running several more programs in the spring, including Tech Moms Latinas. We would love for your help in spreading the word. If you know other Latinas who would love to join us, please share this program with them. And also tell your companies. We need a lot of support in a lot of ways, but we are strongly committed to creating great opportunities and a long-term community for women throughout the tech industry to find the support that they need. I'm wondering if there's anything else I need to be sharing. One more thing about Rise Next is we also, in addition to our Tech Moms program, we do professional development and corporate training to help companies learn how to develop their leaders, women leaders, both the executives who need to know how to better support and advance women within their organizations, but also women themselves, helping them learn to overcome the barriers that they're facing. So thank you so much. We've been thrilled to be here with you tonight. I think this is it. Everybody online, thank you so much for joining us. What do I need to do? Oh yeah, I'll do that for sure. So everybody online, please reach out to the panelists, connect with them on LinkedIn, connect with all of us at Latinas in Tech and also at Rise Next. And we're excited to see you engage in this community. For everybody here in person tonight, we have some amazing refreshments back there. So please come back and have something to eat. Thank you so much, everybody.